Chairman Coons, Ranking Member Isaacson, thank you for the invitation and honor to testify before your committee today. I greet you on behalf of the millions of Congolese in the homeland who look up to the United States as a beacon of democracy. I would also like to thank you on behalf of the Congolese community of the United States for your interest in the alarming development in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you. My name is Mvemba Dizolele. I'm a native Congolese and a naturalized U.S. citizen. I would like to note that I received my American citizenship through service in the United States Marine Corps Reserve, where I was a non-commissioned officer and served in infantry, intelligence, training and operations, and public affairs positions. I recently returned from Congo, where I observed the contentious presidential and legislative election that have led to the current legitimacy crisis between President Joseph Kabila and his main challenger, Etienne Tshisekedi. I'm neither a member of the opposition nor a supporter of the presidential majority. I speak on behalf of the Congolese people. While I do not represent all 70 million Congolese, I am confident that I speak for a good many of them. Still, my views are my own today. I'd just like to put a little bit of context in this. The most widely accepted narrative of U.S. Congo policy defines the predicament of the country as a humanitarian crisis through the binary prism of sexual violence and the so-called conflict minerals. This narrative has now become the standard perspective through which Americans view Congo, and most NGOs, activists, academics, and policymakers like yourselves build your work around this prism. Not only is this narrative wrong, it has led to misguided initiatives such as the Dodd-Frank Act, which contains an important resolution on Congo's conflict minerals, effectively turning U.S. Congo policy into a Kivu policy. This narrative oversimplifies the problem and makes American taxpayers believe that if only the challenges of sexual violence and conflict minerals were solved, then Congo will get on track and peace will follow. Nothing, however, is farther from the truth. The Congo crisis is first and foremost political and requires political solutions. The disproportionate attention that policymakers directed to sexual violence and conflict minerals distracted them from the many other important core issues such as governance, security sector reform, mining sector reform, decentralization, and the elections. The result has been catastrophic for the Congolese. The crisis, as we know it, as we discussed today, started, of course, on December 9th, when Daniel Mulunda Ngoyi, chairman of the Electoral Commission, declared President Kabila winner of the contentious election, with 49% of the vote. Tshisekedi, who placed second, has rejected the result, called Mulunda's statement a provocation of the people, and declared himself president-elect. The main opposition parties have rallied behind Tshisekedi and are calling on the international community to solve the impasse. Meanwhile, the government reacted swiftly and forcefully, unleashing armed anti-riot policemen and elements of the elite presidential guard into the streets of Kinshasa to confront Tshisekedi's partisans. Several people have been killed in clashes between state security agents and the protesters. An unconfirmed number of young men have been abducted from their homes by the same agent and driven to undisclosed locations. The government has cut off text messaging services, and internet access is now limited, slow, and intermittent. The diplomatic community exhorted Tshisekedi supporters to refrain from violence, but has not condemned abuses by state security agents. As of this writing, the Limete neighborhood where Tshisekedi's residence and party headquarters are located is under heavy police siege. The movement and activities of his supporters are curtailed by state security agents who harass, manhandle them at checkpoints, provoking them into more violence. But the real genesis of the crisis goes back to December 2010, when Tshisekedi, who had been sick and seeking treatment in Europe, returned unexpectedly to Congo and announced his candidacy for the presidency. Kabila's advisors panicked, and the president parliamentary majority passed a hasty constitutional revision in January 2011 that scrapped the two-round voting process in favor of a one round, all within 1 week. Opposition parties, along with civil society groups, denounced the constitutional revision, calling it irresponsible and dangerous for the security and stability of the country. Major powers in the West, however, especially the United States, France, and Belgium, wrote off the power play as an internal affair. Throughout all of this, Western embassies appeared content to look the other way. Diplomats from the United States, France, Britain, and Belgium praised the CENI for enrolling 32 million voters. No doubt an impressive feat considering the enormous logistical challenges. But voter enrollment was the first step of an electoral process, not the end. The same international actors remained silent about the allegations of fraud and irregularities, even as Congolese and international human rights organizations denounce violence and abuses. Their silence has helped spawn a crisis that could have easily been averted. At stake is nothing less than the stability of a country of 70 million people. Unless the international community takes its responsibility to protect the Congolese from conflict seriously, Congo will slide into greater post-election violence. If this fits with the mandate of your committee, the U.S. Senate should investigate this electoral disaster. A mixed panel of highly respected Congolese and outside negotiators should be selected with the full support of the United States, France, Belgium, and other relevant powers to review and address the inconsistencies that have caused this crisis. The alternative is to let the Supreme Court certify Kabila's provisional victory and hand him another 5-year term, in which case we better watch out. The opposition will reject this victory, but an emboldened Kabila with questionable legitimacy will assert his power with greater popular repression, triggering a cycle of violence with untold ramifications. After decades of mismanagement and chronic conflict in Congo, this election presented the people with a chance to rebuild their country. With its vast natural and human resources, Congo has the potential to be a regional power, as it once was, providing stability and leadership in an area known for turmoil. But if the Congolese are robbed of a fair and honest say in international politics, such potential will remain but an illusion. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dizolele.